Hello and welcome. This is Edexcel, iGCSE, ICT. This is a past paper. This is from 2022, the summer of 2022. So at the time of making this video in October of 2022, it is the latest paper. It is a practical paper. So we'll go and have a look at it. You must have these data files to go with it. And if you check down in the description, you'll find a link to all those files, a link to the dropbox. You must use a black pen. I'm going to write on the PDF. So we'll go through this. There's some details here. In the actual exam, you will need to print everything off. You'll need to put a hole punch through the top left as so, and need to tag everything, and it needs to be clearly labeled. Task A1, A2, etc. And there's some clear details about how to arrange that there. So then we come into the paper here. And the total marks are out of 100. So this is half of the qualification. The other half is the theory paper, which I've done, and you'll see a link to it above. So total marks out of 100. Make sure you read that very, very carefully and read the instructions very carefully. And some details about what the paper contains. So we can see we've got sections A and B here. We've got graphics, database, web authoring in section A. So there's the files that you need. Again, down in the description. We've got B, spreadsheet, word processing, party letter, contact. So we can see we're going to be making a logo, web page. There is some database in here as well. Some graphics, spreadsheet, and word processing. So this pretty much covers everything. So it's some papers there might not be web authoring. In this one, there definitely is, along with database. So it's quite comprehensive, this paper. So the scenario then, it's important that you read this very carefully because you've got some details about the company there, the perfect party, and you've got some contact details there and email address, which you'll need to note. So unusually in this one, we cannot see any details about house style. That's missing from this. So it's just information about the scenario and company details that you'll need to put into the finished documents. So we can then go and jump in and have a look at the first question in section A. But before we do, please join me by liking and subscribing. I'd really appreciate it, and it really encourages to make more of these videos. So please do that now. And as soon as you've done that, we'll jump in and start task A1. Okay, task A1. Brogan has created a logo for her company. She has inserted her logo in the document task A1. Open task A1 and enter your details in the header. Resave task A1. So we'll go and do that now. So this is task A1 in the file, so I need to double click on the top. Now the version of Word I'm using here is 2019, but it's exactly the same in other versions as well, 2016 or even newer. It's exactly the same. So you need to put your details in the top there. It's really important, and you must put what task it is, task A1. Now you must put your details, your candidate details on the top here, on everything you print out. Because if it comes out the printer without your name on it, it's going to go in the bin. It's not going to be your work. So doing that is assigning your name. It's like signing, putting a signature on that, so that when it comes out the printer, you know it's yours. So we close header and footer. Now we'll go back to the question. It says she's not happy with her logo. Identify two weaknesses of the logo. Add these to document task A1. So 2 points, 2 marks here. So we'll go back to that and we'll have a look at that. So it's quite an interesting looking design there. I think that says party there. And if we zoom in a bit more, it says perfect party. So what can we find here? Well, the image is very pixelated. You can actually see the pixels there. I don't know if that's intentional, but it doesn't look particularly great. And the second one, well, the image isn't very clear, but I'm going to steer away from the image with my second point. I want it to be slightly different. I'm looking at the writing. It's not particularly clear. So any one of those. One thing about the mark scheme is it says do not accept generic responses that do not relate specifically to the logo. So it does actually need to be, you need to be writing about the logo. The images are very clear there, and it's very odd, very kind of odd coloring in there. So anything like that is going to be a great answer for that one. 2 marks. So go on, down, A1B. Brogan needs a new logo. She wants you to create a logo using a sketch she has provided. Open the document, logo, sketch. So we'll go and open that now and have a look at that, what she wants. So this is logo sketch, and we can see 3 balloons and what appears to be a string from the balloon in kind of like a curvy, intertwined kind of effect there. There's no indication of colors I can see on there. Doesn't specifically say that. We'll go back to the question paper. What does it say? So the logo must be fit for purpose and match sketch. Use different colors for each balloon. Include a shadow on each balloon. Incorporate the company name, the perfect party, using appropriate font, color, size, and position. 6 marks. Now this actually must be an image. So if you create this in software, you've got to make sure you export it. I'm going to do this in PowerPoint, but you can save it as an image. You can save it as a PNG image, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to go and load PowerPoint now. We're going to create this logo. So here I'm in PowerPoint, new blank document, and I'm going to go and look back at the logo. So it's 3 balloons, and what we know is they need to be a balloon shape. They need to have 3 different colors, at least 1 balloon in front of one another, reflection on it, so kind of a shadowy effect, shadow behind at least 1 balloon. I think we can do that in PowerPoint. So go to Insert now and Shapes, and we'll find suitable shapes, balloon shapes, and I quite like this one here, like a teardrop shape. To me, that's a suitable balloon shape, and I'm going to rotate it around like that. What I'll do first is I'll get the 3 balloons on there, and I will get them into place, and then I'll colour them in. So I've copied and pasted that across. I've copied and pasted that one, and I'm going to make this one a bit bigger. Be careful not to distort it like that. That one's going to be a bit bigger. So just go back and look at the design. So I'm going to have that one in the middle, and the smaller one kind of goes behind that, and there's a further smaller one that comes in front of the big one in the middle. So I'm going to copy and paste that again, and this one needs to be placed as like so, and I need to rotate it around because it needs to be kind of facing that way. I'm going to move that down like that. Okay, let's go back and have a look. It doesn't need to be exact. It needs to be fairly similar, but not exact. I'm going to move that one up there, and that one comes down a bit more. So let's go and choose some colors now. So we'll have bright colors for this. So go to Shape Format. Now I'm going to choose Shape Fill, and as I do that, I also need to choose the outline, and that needs to be, I'm going to go with no outline there, just because it keeps things simple. So Shape Fill, that one's going to be orange, this one's going to be red, and again, no outline. And this one, let's go with a nice bright green for this one. So nice bright green color there. And again, no outline because it looks a bit odd if it's got an outline. So I've got my 3 balloons there. Let's go back and have a look at the diagram there, like that. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my draw tool here to draw the string. So just go back and have a look at what that looks like. It's kind of very curvy and intertwined for all 3 of them. So as best I can, so I'm going to use a mouse for this. So I'm working on a laptop, but I'm going to use my mouse, and I'm just going to do the best I can here. Don't worry if it's not perfect, as long as it kind of looks like it should do there. That's going to intertwine there, it's going to go around there. And this one, I think I'm going to have that coming across there like that. Is that approximately? Yeah, it's approximate, isn't it? What it says is curvy lines to represent string. That's curvy lines to represent string. Okay. So we've got different colored balloons, 3 balloon shapes, that's 1 mark. At least 2 different colored balloons, that's 2 marks. We've got our curvy lines, that's 3 marks. Reflection, so at least 1 balloon in front of another, that's 4 marks. So now we need the shadow behind at least one balloon, and then we need to do the logo, the company name. Now, what I'm going to deal with now is a shadow behind at least one balloon. So I'm going to have a look at these kind of effects. So I went to here, our shape format, shape fill, gradient. So let's have a look at that and see what we've got here. What could be good for my shadow effects there. So that is kind of a shadow effect there. I might want to do another one with the shadow effects, but I might want to just kind of experiment with this till I get this right. So more gradients and have a look at how this is going to work. So can have radial or linear there. That looks quite good. Radial has kind of got a shadow effect on it. So now I've gone back to shape fill and gradient and I'm having a look at this. I quite like that. And I'm going to do the same one with the orange balloon here as well. And I'm going to have gradient effect there. That looks pretty good. And I think that's kind of a shadow effect that they're wanting there. The only thing I need to do now is say the perfect party. And we need to go back to the question. It needs to say incorporate the company name and perfect party using appropriate font color, size and position. So now I'm going to do that. And it needs to say the perfect party. So I'm going to use word art here. And I'm just going to choose a simple word art. And the perfect party. And I'm going to place that there. So what does it say about that in the exact using appropriate color, size and position? So what does it say in the mark scheme? Fit for purpose, appropriate font color, size, position, spelt correctly, the perfect party. So it does need to be spelt correctly. If you're not sure, please refer to the exam paper. So I'm pretty happy with that. That will be 6 marks. So what I need to do now is make that into an image, and it's really important that I do that. So I'll highlight that, all of that there. So right mouse click, group, and I'm grouping them together. So I'll group the whole lot together. I'm not sure that groups that in there as well. So I'll just go back and do that again. So now I have grouped the whole lot together. Now the next bit is relatively easy. So click on that. The whole lot is grouped together here. So now select it here, right mouse click, and what we need to do is select save as picture. Now again, I'm using 2019. It's exactly the same as in 2016. So you need to save it as PNG in a suitable folder in your folder that you're going to hand in. And it does say here, save it as logo. So make sure that is capital LOGO, and we're going to save it as a PNG file. So that's that done. So now task A1C, answer this question on document task A1. Give 2 features of bitmap images. Then we're going to resave A1 as a PDF. So what are my 2 features of bitmap images then? Well, the first one is they're made of tiny dots called pixels. And the second point is each pixel can be edited. So, done that, 2 marks. Resave task A1. So go back and resave it. And then it said to save it as PDF. So we go to File, Save As. So now I've got the option here to choose PDF. So I can choose PDF there if I want to, or you can go to File and Print, and instead of selecting Print to a printer, we can select Print to Save as PDF there. So go ahead and save that as a PDF. That's relatively easy to do. And that is 10 marks. Task A2. Brogan has collected information about the parties booked with the company. She saved the information in the database party information. The database has 2 tables. So here's information about the database and the 2 tables. And if we go and open up the database, we can actually see that in practice. Again, this database is linked down below in the Dropbox. You can find it there. So what we've got here are party and customer. You can see two tables there, party and customer. If we go to database tools and relationships, we can actually see that they're not actually linked together. So that might be one of the things that I need to do, is to link those 2 tables together, because there's no link at the moment. It's not actually a relational database. It's just 2 separate tables in there. So the first thing we need to do is open the party table. So we've done that. We create a new word processing document, set it to landscape and put the details in the top. I've done that there. Then I need to open the party database and create a form for the party table. So some specific details there, the things I need to do. I need to save it as party_form. So I open the party table there and we go to create. Now we've seen lots of things here. We've got form, blank form, form design. I'm going to go with the wizard. There's nothing to stop you using the wizard. You must make sure it's table party. So just to double check, it needs to be the party table, and we'll click on these double arrows there to put all the fields from left to right. Click next. Click next there. I don't need to do anything there. Now this is where I get to save it, and there's a specific way I need to save that party_form, so I might as well do that now. Party_ caps lock on form. Okay, and I will modify the form's design finish. So this is what I come out with, but it's not done yet because there's some specific things that I need to do to gain the marks here. So include a serif font for the title field headings. So a serif font is like the font we've got here. We can see the little serifs on the letters. That is a serif font. So there's no need for me to do anything there. That is okay as it is. I'm just going to widen this out so I can see it a bit better. This is all in serif font as well, so I think that's okay. Field headings. Be customized so that the field headings have a 2-point border. So I'm going to go and do that now. So these are the field headings there, and I need to have a 2-point border. Now what I need to do is highlight this and go into the properties. So I pulled this across from the right hand side so I can see it a bit better. What I need to do is make sure I got here, I need to look at the border width. All, and we need to find border width. And that needs to be specified as 2. So that's a border size of 2. Need to see the properties. So I think we should take a screenshot of that while we can and put that into here. So we've got that ready to go. Automated date and time, an option to save each record. So now I need to come out of that. I need to insert an automated date and time. So what we'll do is we'll put that in the header. So I'll click on date and time, include time there. And that's in the top there, like that. So I've got my automated date and time. Include an option to save each record. So now I want a button that allows me to save each record. So now we go to form design and we choose button. So we go to record operations and we want it to save record. Click next. Now we will have text in there, save record. If you don't have that, it would have a little save button. I would choose to have it actually say save record there, because just for the exam I think it would be better. So click next there, and we will call it something save record rather than command 25 and finish. And now we've got our little save record button there. So back to the question, option to save each record. Yep. Save the form as party form. Take screenshots of the form in design view to show that we've got an automated date and 2-point border. So we've got the 2-point border, but we'll do the automated date as well now. So we'll take another screenshot of that. Yes, I've got 2 screenshots there, but better to be safe than sorry. I'd rather have 2 screenshots than lose marks there. Let's paste the screenshots into document A2. So we save the form now. Go back and save it, file and save, and the form is now saved for us. And that is that completed A2A. A2B, Brogan wants a list of parties that are booked for 2024, have more than 50 guests, have paid a deposit. Create a query on the party table to produce the list. Save the query as 2024 query. Paste it into A2. So we need to come out of this and we will close all that down, and we go to create and we go to query. Let's go for query design this time. Now it is from the party table, so I'll double click on party to put that on there. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just put all these fields on here so I know exactly what I want. I don't have to have them all in my query result, but just to be clear, until I know exactly what I want, I'm going to put them all on there. So are booked for 2024. So how do we do that? Well, what we're going to use is in here, party date, we're going to use something called a wildcard. We're going to put like. So we use our wildcard, and now we get our quotation marks, ** /* **/2024. Because the date is in this format, all we want is 2024. We don't want the day and the month. We just want 2024. So we want all the dates in those formats. So use a wildcard for that. Now, what I always recommend is you run the query as you go. So click run and run the query, and they should all be 2024. It looks like they're all 2024. So that part's okay. We'll go to view, back to design view now, because we haven't finished this. There's more for this to do. More than 50 guests. So now number of guests now, and more than 50 means greater than 50. If it was greater than or equal to 50, then we'd need to put the equal sign in, but it's more than 50 guests. So we run that again, see what we've got. Yes, more than 50 guests. So let's go back, have paid a deposit. So we go back to design, and we need to look at have paid a deposit now. So deposit paid is greater than 0. So I'll go back and run that, and these are results of the query. So all the people that have paid a deposit, so greater than 0 because it's money. So have they paid some money for the deposit? So as long as it's greater than 0, even if it's £5, they've paid a deposit. So yes, they've paid a deposit there. Now, not quite finished. There's a bit more to do. So it says create a query on the party table to produce the list. The list must show only these fields in this order. Party type, so we go back to design. So on party type, show, yes. Party date, yes. So we want the date in there. Customer ID and number of guests. So we don't want party ID, we want customer ID, party date, party type, number of guests. Catering, we don't want that. Entertainment, we don't want that. Venue decoration, we don't want that. So we uncheck the boxes that we don't want. Deposit paid. So there should only be 4 fields that it actually wants to see. And need to be in a specific order. So party type comes first. So party type is here. So what I need to do is drag that there. Party date comes next. So that needs to get dragged there after party type. Customer ID. So that gets dragged there. That is actually in the correct order. And number of guests comes next. So be sorted in order of the highest number of guests to the lowest. So number of guests need to be sorted descending. So high to low is descending. Remember, ascending is low to high, descending is high to low. So run that again, and this is what we should be coming out with. And if you want to, you can just enlarge these fields so we can see that data a little bit better, like that. So display results, the query, screenshot of the results into A2. So print screen, then another screenshot in here. You can spend some time cropping it, but I'd recommend you spend time on that at the end when you finish. So one thing we need to do is, I think we need to save the query. And is there a specific name for query? So let's go and save that now. So into file save, and we save it as 2024_query. Click OK. Then that is done. I can close that down, and that completes that task. Task A2C, this is going to be another query. Program wants a list of customers that have booked certain services. The list must include the customers who have booked catering and venue decoration. Show only these fields in this order: customer ID, party type and party date. Be sorted into ascending order of party date. Create a query on the party table to find this information. Save the queries services_query. Take some screenshots as we go. So we'll go and do that now. And it looks like if we scroll down, we're going to need to create a report on that once the query is done. So that's going to be part of the task. So we go to the database and we open party. We're going to create a query on here. So we go to create, and this time we'll still use the query design there. You could use a wizard, but it's pretty easy to do this. So put all these fields on here, and I've managed to do that twice, so we must get rid of that. So if you have done that, make sure you take that out because that's going to skew your results slightly. Okay, so back to the question. Customers who are booked catering and venue decoration. So for catering, we need to put yes there, and for venue decoration, we need to put yes in there as well. And we run that, and these are the results that have come out. We've got catering ticked and venue decoration ticked as well. So that's the first part of it done, but we need to go back to design view, and we need to take out some of these fields because we only want customer ID. So we want customer ID in there, party type and party date. So we don't want party ID, we want party date, party type. We don't want this in our results. We don't need that. So if I don't want them in my results to be displayed, then I uncheck that box there. In this order, so customer ID, party type and party date. So we want first customer ID, party type, and then party date. So we need to move that there so we get the correct results, and we run that again. And this is what we come out with. It's still not finished because we need to sort into ascending order of party date. So we go back to design view, party date sorted in ascending order. Now I'll run it again, and these should be the results that we get. So that's the query done. Take a screenshot of the query design. So let's go and do that now. So we go back to design view, and we make sure we get our yeses in there. And we take a print screen of that and put that into task A2. Okay, we need to save the query as services_query. So file, save, services_query. Click OK. So that's saved. So now, moving on, we want a report based on the results from services query, create a database report to display the results. So all these things here, and that's going to be 8 marks. So we go back to that, we can come out of that, we can come out of that. We go to create, and we go to report wizard. So I'm going to use the wizard for this, and I'm going to make sure I've got the query selected there, all these fields on there, next, next. It should already be sorted, so I shouldn't really need to do anything there. Next, next. Modify the report. Now, what do we need to name it as? Well, it doesn't tell me anything else. I'm going to call it just services query. Okay, here's my report. So there'll be some things to do. Have a suitable title using a serif font. So could call it services query. I think that's a fairly, so perhaps we will edit that. I think I'll call this catering and venue decoration. And it did say a serif font, which is automatically defaulted to, so I'm going to keep that. Include the logo you created in the top left of the report, so I need to put the logo in there, so I need to come out of that. I'm going to move this along, and I'm going to insert my logo here. Now I'll go to insert image, and I'm going to browse to the image that I created, and I simply dragged and placed that into where I want that to be. So 1, 2, done. Show only the required fields. It should do. Show the records sorted as required. We'll check that now. So we can check that by actually seeing this. If we go to view and print preview, what does this look like? And this looks sorted there. HA1201 down to SU611. That looks okay. So come out of that, close print preview. Include the company name Perfect Party in the header. So we do need to have that in the header. So I'm going to create a bit more space here and move that down. I'm going to insert another label, and it does need to say the perfect party. So we'll make that a bit bigger. Has it said anything about font and what that should look like? Let's go and have a look at that. Let's line that up a bit. So, company name, perfect party in the header. So, enter your name, candidate number and centre number in the page footer. So, go down to report footer, and we don't need that in there. It hasn't said to put that in there. We don't need the date. What we need is name, candidate number and centre number in the footer. So now we can add that in. So we click on report design, and here I'm going to choose a label, and I'm going to place that in. So my details will go in the footer, and it's really important that it's spelt correctly, it has the correct task on there. It is A2C. Name, candidate number and centre number in the page footer. So that, I think, is done. So take a screenshot of the report, place the screenshot into A2, save A2. So you need to go back to view, and we need to go to print preview to be able to do that. And what we could do is scroll that out a bit and take a screenshot. If it meant taking two screenshots, one of the top, one of the bottom, then do so. You don't want to lose any marks. You don't want to lose any marks by trying to fit it all on one or missing stuff off that should have been there. So we can come out of that now. And I think that's done, so I can close that. Yes, I will save that. Always save it. So A2D. Brogan wants to add additional fields to the customer table to include customer contact number. Answer these questions in the document A2. Now, for ease of use and speed, I'm going to answer them on here using fill and sign, just because it's a little bit easier than having to go back and forth to write on there. So I'm just going to write on here. Give the most appropriate data type Brogan should use for the customer contact number field. Now, some people might automatically go for number. Well, it's a number, it should be a number. But if you do, you knock off the leading zero, because a lot of phone numbers have a leading zero. 077, for example, 01423, for example. So having that text, having that as number will knock that off. So I would choose text as the most appropriate data type for storing number, contact number. Give the most appropriate field size Brogan should use for the customer contact number field. Anything between 10 and 15. I'm going to go up to 15 just to allow for big numbers in case it's a foreign number, for example. 3. Identify which field will be used as a foreign key in the party table. It is customer ID. That could be used, as I showed you earlier, to link the two tables together. Resave A2. Now, number 4, add a record to the customer table that stores these customer details. So we go to customer now, and we can simply add the details in, and then we'll take a screenshot of it, put into the document A2. So customer ID SA1203, customer name Samuels. Make sure you spell it correctly. Double check if you need to. You'll have this paper in front of you, so it shouldn't really be too difficult to do that. Email address samuels@fortran.online. Very strange email address, but that's what we've got. And preferred contact method is email. So that's our record added there, and we would save that and take a screenshot, place the screenshot into A2, resave A2. So I'm just going to save that and come out of that and do a screenshot. We know how to do screenshots, so I'm not going to do that now. Answer these questions in the document A2. Again, for speed and ease of use, I'm just going to write on the document here. Number 1. Party table includes a date field. State one appropriate validation check that could be used on the date field. Well, we'd want to check that it's actually there, so I might use a presence check. You could have there type check, range check, format check. That's in the correct format. But I want the present check. I want to know that it's there. 2. The customer table includes the preferred contact method. Explain one reason why the field uses limit to list on a lookup list. Well, why have we got that? So a user cannot just type what they want. This is to prevent errors. So we're checking, we've got some validation there to check the user input. So we don't just get any old rubbish going in there. We get exactly what we want, because database is just simply garbage in, garbage out. If I put rubbish into a database, the database isn't going to make it better. It's garbage in, garbage out. So we want to make sure what we put into the database is of the best quality, and that completes task A2 for 25 marks. Task A3, create a folder, task A3. So that's really important, because that's where you're going to put your web page. So make sure you create a folder, and everything that you create for your web page is going to go in there. Brogan wants you to create 2 web pages for the Perfect Party's new website. Content for the web page is stored in the file web pages. So this is the file here that they're talking about. This is what you need. This is everything you're going to put on the web pages. It's going to be 2 pages, home and birthday. They must be saved as HTML, and they're going to be linked together. So I'll show you the finished article that we're going to create first. So this is going to be the finished page, and if I go to index, what we've got here is a table with some of the services there, and I've got my logo and the title there, the Perfect Party. Then I click on birthday, and that takes me to the second page where I've got a couple of images, one of which is got specific details of how big that needs to be. And that is 450 by 300. Then we've got an email. That should be a mail to there. So that is an email address that should work. And I should be able to click on index, and that takes me back home. So that is our template. That's what we're going to create with this specific color scheme. So task A3.1 is to create a template for the web pages. So a template must include the logo you created in A1B, text, and all those details there. Specific heading, H1, and a specific color scheme there. So the software that I've used is KompoZer. It's about the only free software remaining that is easy to use to create a web page. A lot of people these days, when creating websites, they go onto online cloud-based web page creation software that we can think of brand names of. But Edexcel still stick with creating web pages through software. Now, KompoZer is about the only one I've found that's still available, that's still free and relatively easy to use. And I'll put a link down in the description of where you can get that. Some people always ask me, can you create a web page in Publisher? I wouldn't really recommend it, because you are limiting yourself when it comes to the HTML. If you get, there isn't specific things in here with HTML, but if you do need to edit the HTML, you're going to struggle with that with Publisher. So ideally, your center where you are should have something like KompoZer on there. I have looked at Dreamweaver, but I found the new versions incredibly difficult to use. They're not particularly user-friendly, and they're maybe a bit too advanced for what we're doing here. This is only a 2-page website. There's not much kind of interactivity with it. So we'll get started, and I'll close that down, and we go to File and New, Blank Document. And what I'd recommend doing here is actually saving this in your folder. So I'm going to call this Template. I want to make sure we've created the correct folder. So the folder it should be saved in, you've been given specific instructions here, a file called Web Pages. So let's go and do that now. So I'll make a new folder called web pages, and we'll save it in there. So this is going to be my template. So what I want to do is, if we look at the design, I need to have this banner across the top with the logo and the perfect party. So I'm going to create that first. So the easiest way to do that is to really insert a table. I'm going to have 2 by 2. So I can put my logo in there and the other bits, the title on the side. Now with this table, we'll go to table properties and we'll select the border. We'll make it 0 so it doesn't actually look like a table. So what we don't want to do is have the lines down there so it looks like a table. We just want it to look like, well, we don't want it to look like anything. We're just going to put our documents, data that we need in there. So we're going to insert the logo first. So I'm going to browse to File and find my logo. Now, unless it specifically says, I would uncheck that box. Don't use alt text. We don't really need that in there. Click OK. That is a bit too big, so I'm going to spend some time just to shrink that down. And that's an easy job, just dragging that down to size. So that is far too big. Now, I'm ready to put the title on there, and the title is actually It's Party Time, not the perfect party. So it's got to say it's party time. So I'm going to put that on there. And that needs to be in capital sans serif font and uppercase. So I'm going to put the caps lock on. It's party time. Now that does need to be heading 1. So we choose heading 1 here. If that has appeared too big, you can shrink it down. If it's too small, you can make it larger. Now we can change the font by going to Format and Font and choosing a sans serif font like Arial. That would be suitable there, most suitable there. Okay. So that's now done. We'll go back to this. So navigation bar with HTML links to each of the pages. That's not particularly easy to do in KompoZer, but what I did was I went back to the table 2 by 2 there, and that needs to link to both of the pages, and the pages were index and birthday. So I just wrote them in there. And the second one I put birthday. And again, my sans serif font there. So Format and Font, Arial, and make that a bit bigger. Now we will, with the table, we will get rid of the border spacing, but to make that look like actual kind of buttons there or hyperlinks, what we could do is perhaps change the background color there. We could change that to purple. So that it actually looks like buttons there. So page title set as H1, color scheme, background color. Let's do this now. Background color and text color. So we go back to here. We need to set those colors up. So we go to Format and Page Colors and Background. So we need to use custom colors. So normal text, it's got specifics here. So that is B67 6B1, and you must make a note of that. So we're going to choose that here. So delete that B67. If it's easier, write that down. 6B1. Okay. We need to check the background as well. That's got a specific color. It is FAEBD7. FAE BD7. It must be exact or you're not going to get the marks for that. Click OK, and it goes a light pink color. So that's that done. So we've now got our template set up, and we can now save that as home and use that as our home page. So on the home page, it's quite simple. We've got some text that we need to put in there and a table. So this is what it should look like. So get the text from here. Are you planning a celebration? So we copy that first bit there. And when we paste that into there, we are going to do this paste without formatting because we don't want it to be formatted, and I'm just going to change the font there to Arial. I'm going to keep it that size. That size is okay. So now I need to put the table in. So it needs to look like that. So it's going to be three columns by, I can count 5 rows there, 3 by 5. So we're going to insert that now. So we'll drag that across. So that's going to come right across here, and the top, there's specifics here. So if we go and look at what we're doing with the home page here, we have to have customized so that row 1 is merged across all columns, and that's easy to do. We go to Table, Join Selected Cells, and that will merge that across there, and we can center it. So that's going to be merged and centered, and that's going to be what can we offer you. So I'm just going to copy and paste that in there. Again, pasting without formatting. So that has to be dark background, white text, centered, aligned. Just come out with database there. Right, back to this. So we will choose a font, Arial, and we can format text color. We can choose white, and this needs to be a dark background. It's not specified. So if we highlight this cell here, it's a table, cell background color. I'm just going to go with that dark purple there. That looks okay. Now, it's simply a case of copying and pasting this into the correct cells. So Control C in Windows, and then paste without formatting into there. And it's going to be all of those. They're all spaced out exactly as they need to be. So we'll do the first row together, and then I'll just paste that in, and then I'll complete that off camera just for speed. So that one, and that one go in the top row. Again, pasting without formatting. So I'll go ahead and fill all that in and then come back. So now I've put that in, and we will save it. I'll save it regularly. Home, overwrite, yes. And there's a bit more text to put at the bottom before we can call this finished. So that one there, that goes in at the bottom. Paste without formatting, and we'll change that to Arial, and that is done. Now I need to create the second page, and that's called birthday, and I can create that using the template. So I've gone ahead and done that, and I'll just save that as birthday, and then we're good to go. So this one needs to have this information here copied and pasted onto it, but it's also got specific requirements. So we're going to put that in there first. Again, paste without formatting, and we'll change that font to Arial so it matches the rest of the web page. So it does specifically say here 2 images and a footer. So we deal with the 2 images now from the images folder. So to do that, I'm going to insert a table 2 by 2. Just makes life easier. We can contain the images a bit better than we can in just inserting them. It just makes life a lot easier. And again, we'll change the formatting of that table so that we have a border of 0 so you can't see it. So we'll go and insert an image there from the folder. So again, all these images are available, and I've just simply chosen image 5. It does specifically say not 1 and 2 because they're not appropriate. You are going to lose marks if you put image 1 or image 2 on there. So I'm going to go with image 5, and I'm going to change the dimensions. I think I would change it now because it's rather a big image. So as much as possible, I'm going to change that, and the specific dimensions are 450 by 300. If we uncheck constrain there, we can make that 450 by 300, and it's wanting me to use alt text. I don't want to use alt text. I'm not told to do that. So that's one image in there, and we'll get the second one in there as well. And again, browse to the location. I'm just going to choose image 6. My dimensions there, custom size, not constrained. And if both of these are 450 by 300, then I'm going to make sure I doubly meet that point to get that mark there. Again, don't use alt text unless you're told to. So that's my 2 images in there. So the final thing I need to do is just simply a footer with the background set to a different color and email link to what's said there. So again, I'm back in with the table. I'm just going to choose a simple table like that and drag that across, and I'm going to change the color of this and set. I'm going to choose purple. Actually, it's going to be a blue. The male 2 is going to be blue, so that's not going to stand out very well. I'm going to choose a lighter color, but make sure it does look different to the rest of it. So I've gone with that light blue, but we must take out that border. So table properties there, border 0. Okay, so that's going to be an email address. So you need to write that correctly. Just for ease of use, I'm just going to write that down. So brogan@tpp.service, very strange email address, but that's what we're given. Don't misspell it. Now, what we need to do is, I think the first thing I'll do is just change the font so it matches, but we need to make that a male 2. So we need to go to insert link here, and this is how we do it. So it is that brogan@tpp.service, and the above is an email address. Click OK. So that will be a male 2 when we preview it. Save as birthday. Now, one thing we haven't done is made these into hyperlinks, so let's do that now. So insert link. Index needs to go to home. OK. Insert link. Birthday needs to go to birthday. And I had 2 pages, so I need to do that on the first page as well. Make sure you save it. So I've gone ahead and done that, and what you should see is your template birthday and home in that folder. And if I go to home here, it looks like this, and birthday looks like that with my images appealing there and the B Rogan. So that is a male 2, so that should open my mail. So that completes that question, A3, for 15 marks, and that completes all of task A for 50 marks. Now into section B, and this is the other 50% of the paper. Task B1, the perfect party offers party planning. The spreadsheet party contains information on parties. There's 3 worksheets called cost, details and chart. Some functions require you to use different worksheets. Open the spreadsheet party, open the worksheet costs, enter task B1, your name, calendar number and centre number in the header. So we'll go and look at that now. So here is the spreadsheet. I'm just going to move this across a bit so we can see all of this area. What we need to do is look at the header. So to get there, we need to go to the Insert tab, and we need to go to Text there, and Header and Footer. And you need to put your details in the header and footer. So make sure you do follow that very carefully, and you put task B1. I'd recommend putting task B1 on the left hand side like that. So we can come out of that. If we go to View and go to Normal, we can come out of that view. So that's that done. So now we go to B1A, insert a new row at the top of the spreadsheet and enter the heading Income from Party Costs in cell B1. So to insert a new row at the top there, you can right click and insert, and we can easily insert a new row. So what we need to do now is write Income from Party Costs there. So merge and center cells B1 to H1. So we highlight B1 to H1 and go to home. We need to find merge and center, which is this one here. Use a spreadsheet function to insert an automated date, automated time in cell A1. So click on cell 1, A1. Now that is really easy to do. We write equals now in capitals, brackets, brackets, and we get that there. That is a current date and time. Set the formatting for this next question here. Shading, dark, font color, white, font enhancement, bold and underline. So we'll go and do that now. So shade, we click here, then we can highlight the whole row. Shading, dark, and we choose dark blue. Font color, white. That's easy enough to do. We select that here. Font enhancement, bold and underline. Let's go here and choose bold and underline. Row height 28. So on row 1, right click, row height, change that to 28. Text alignment, vertically centered. So we need to change the alignment there. It's vertically centered there. That's what that means. So on the vertical, it's centered in the middle, vertically centered. So that is 4 marks. Task B1B. Brogan wants you to use a spreadsheet tool to analyze the data in the spreadsheet. New customers are given a discount on their party booking. Use one spreadsheet function to display the cost per guest for customer ID there. To do this, we're going to use a VLOOKUP, vertical lookup. So new customers are given a discount on their party booking. So display cost per guest for customer ID. So cost per guest there. And in details, we've got some information there. So we'll start here, equals VLOOKUP. So I'm looking at this value here, C3. So from the table array, it's from here. So it is this table here, column 2, and I want an exact match. So we're only asked to do that for the first one there, but it would be wise at this point to put in the dollar symbols, $A, $4, and use absolute cell referencing so that I can copy that formula down, because we're going to be asked to do that anyway in the future. So I would recommend you do that. So rather than just do it for one, you put the dollar symbols in. So we lock into this table here and we can copy that formula down to work out the cost per guest. So we've done that for one there, and it should be a VLOOKUP, but I've copied that down. It's going to help me later on. Enter a formula to calculate the cost of party for customer ID. So the first one there, the cost of the party. So that is going to be the cost per guest by number of guests. So equals that D3 times by E3. Now at this point, we might as well just copy that formula down because we're going to be asked to do it later on. So now we need to do the total with discount. So if the customer is new, then they get a discount, and discount is 10%. So now we need to work that one out in a formula here. So if you get a question like that, if they're a new customer, then we need to use equals if. So we need to have a logical test. So if that cell there, G3, what's my logical test for that is equal to yes, and it needs to be in the quotation marks, bunny ears like that. So what if that's true? Okay, well then they get a discount, so it's F3 minus F3 multiplied by 10%. Value if false, F3. So how's that work? So that's like 10%. So 10% off that, 10% of 2,500 would be 250. So yeah, 2,250 looks right. So now let's make life easier for us. We're going to have to copy this down. So what we'll do is we'll lock this on $F, $4. So I can copy that down now, and that should be the discount. So let's just test that out. So if the customer isn't new, which it isn't, they're only getting zero. They're getting 0 discount. So it's 2,500 there. That is correct. That customer's new, so they get 40 off, 10%, 360. That looks correct. So other new customers there. Looks like it is correct. So the no should be exactly the same, and they are. So that has worked. replicate for all customers. Yet we've done that. So you always know that you're going to have to do that and copy that formula down. So we've done that now. Use one spreadsheet function to calculate the total costs of all parties, including all discounts. I'm guessing that is where we need to put it there. And that is equals sum H3, H22, close brackets. And that's worked that out there. So now we need to display the highest numbers of guests. So if we scroll down, we can see we need to do that here, highest number of guests. So that is equals there, max E3 colon E22. So it's the highest number of guests, 250. I've missed one out, apologies. Number of premium W packages, let's go and do that now. So I thought I missed that out, that one goes in here. And that is, I'm going to use a countif equals count if. So equals count if, that's 1 mark there, C3 to C22. What's my criteria? Premium, you must make sure you spell it correctly, otherwise you're not going to, it's not going to work. W, close brackets, 4. So 4 premium W, that looks about right. You can see 4 premium W in there, and that is correct. And that is that section completed, apart from this one here. 6, sort the data into descending order of total with discount. So we need to sort that data. So here we go to sort and filter, and it needs to be, specifically says descending order. So that's Z to A, descending order there, total with discount. Task B1C, format the costs worksheet so that currency values show the currency symbol pounds to 2 decimal places. Let's do that now. So we need to pick out all the currency here. We'll do the bottom one separately. We'll do the columns first. So here we need to select currency, and mine automatically defaults to pounds. If yours doesn't, go to more number formats and make sure you choose it in GBP pounds, 2 decimal places there like that. So we'll do this, cost of party, we don't need to do number of guests, that's not a currency. Again, that's currency, it should automatically go to that. Total with discount, again, back to currency. GBP, 2 decimal places. So that, again, this one needs to be currency. And I think there's one more to do, and that's it. That's all of that in currency, GBP. Is cell H2, heading total with discount, uses text wrap to use the space efficiently. So H2, here we want to apply a text wrap. So we click that button there, and what we can do is then push that in, and we've got ourselves text wrap. It uses the space more efficiently. Grid lines are displayed when the spreadsheet is printed. So to do that, I went to File and Print, and now I go to Page Setup here. And what I need to do is go to Sheet, and if I want to display grid lines, I click OK there. Now, I think this would look better if it was printed in landscape, so I'm going to set that there, and we can get the whole lot on one sheet. So that will work there, and as 1 mark, all data is visible. Save the spreadsheet as B1. So I think if I just move that out, it's things like that. If you double click on that, if you can't see, if it's slightly truncated, you need to double click there to be able to see all data visible. That's okay like that, but something like religious festival there, that was truncated. We needed to pull that out a bit. So we'll save that as task B1. And that completes task B1 for a total of 25 marks. So if you've got everything right, you're now at 75 marks, which is pretty good going. So we'll move on to task B2. Task B2. Brogan has created a chart showing the number of different types of party booked. She wants you to add a suitable title, labels with the X and Y axes. So we go to our spreadsheet and we go to chart, and we can see there that hasn't got a particularly suitable title. So that's an easy fix. We just double click on there and then we can edit it. Types of party booked. So that's quite a suitable title there. So now we need to add labels for the X and Y axis, and we click on the plus there, and we can add labels for the X and Y axis. So axis title for the Y axis there. So this Y axis is number of parties booked, so I'll delete that and add that there. And the X axis along the bottom here, we need to highlight that and we can change that. So that is party type. And I believe that completes that. That is 2 marks. That is task B2. Now we're on to task B3. Open a new word processing document. Enter task B3, name candidate number in the header. Save the document as task B3. Now for time and ease of use, I'm just going to write on this document here rather than do that and switch between applications. So first question I've got there is explain one reason why absolute cell referencing is used in the spreadsheet. So my answer then is formula can be replicated easily because cell references do not change. 2. State the purpose of the len function in a spreadsheet. It generates the length of the contents in the cell. And 3. Explain one reason why an automated date and time field is used in a spreadsheet. So the answer then is date and time will always be current as it is refreshed when a spreadsheet is opened. Now it does say to resave task B3 and save it as a PDF. That is easily, you can go to file or print, and instead of printing it to a printer you can print to PDF, or you can go to file and save as in Word and you can choose save as PDF. So that completes task B3 for a total of 5 marks. Task B4, open the database file contact. That's this. Open the database table address. That's this. Open the word process file letter. That's this. Enter task B4 and your details in the footer of the file letter. So down at the bottom, you need to put your details in here, just being mindful that there's already something down there. Let's move that out of the way if you need to. Move that across if you need to put your details in there. So what you've got here is a mail merge. Brogan wants to send a letter to some of the customers who booked a party. She's written a letter and saved it as letter. Brogan has saved a list of 3 customers who will be sent letter in the address table in the contact table. So you're going to be doing a mail merge. The letter needs to be edited before it's merged with the database. Edit the letter. Insert the logo you created in task A1B, right hand side of the header. So go up to the top to the right hand side. I want to go here and I want to insert my image. So insert pictures, this device, and I need to browse to the image. So that's that. I had some problems inserting that, so I ended up just inserting a text box and copying and pasted the image into that and moving that into place to solve that. Insert today's date in a suitable location. Now the date should really go above the address there. So I'm going to place it here, but I don't want it to be in italics, so I'm just going to uncheck that box there. So we go to insert and we go to this box here and I'm going to choose this date format. I'd rather not go with short dates and that is a bit too long perhaps, so I'm going to go with that one there. Okay, so insert the subject in a suitable location. So we put that after the dear, so it needs to be between dear and the letter content, and we put that in there. So subject is your party booking, like that. Add bullets to the relevant discount information. We go down here and the bullets need to go on here to go to home, and these are the bullets there. So that's the percentage discount information that needs to be bulleted. Insert the appropriate complementary close. So that's what needs to go here. So the appropriate complementary close, if we know someone's name, is yours sincerely. So yours sincerely, if it was dear sir, madam, it would be yours faithfully. Remember, the S's don't go together. So yours sincerely, because we know the person's name. We've got the person's name because we know that because it says dear F name or first name. We've got their name. So yours sincerely goes at the bottom. Insert a name and job role of the sender of the letter. So the name of the sender of the letter is Brogan. Make sure you spell it correctly. Sarah Banan. And job role of the sender, she's the manager. So that needs to go in there. After that, I'd leave a bit more space for the signature as well. So that is done, and that is B4A. 2. The client's details are stored in the address table in the contact database. Add the correct merge fields to the document to replace the text in brackets. Resave the letter. Show the merge fields. Save the letter as PDF. So here we can see where we need to put our merge fields. I'm going to start with the address. And that looks like that's in italics. So we go to mailings And what we do is start mail merge, use the step-by-step wizard. So writing a letter, writing document, use the current document, next select recipient. So we need to browse now to open up the data connection. So browse to the folder, and the database that we're opening up is this one here, contact. So these are our contacts. Okay. So we created a connection to our database. Now we start writing our letter. Now we put in address block. So if there's problems there, if we cannot see the address, we need to match fields. So first name, last name, suffix. We'll just see if we've got that there. Don't need that. Company, address 1, address 1, ADDR1 needs to be matched. That's address 1. Address 2. City, does that have a match? No. State, no. Postcode, P code. Anything else that needs to be matched on there? I think that's it. Click OK. So that looks okay. We've got an address there with a postcode on it, and we can just check all that. That looks okay there. Click OK. So we can delete that now. You're given some information there, what it should be, ADDR1, but because it's not called address, it won't match it up automatically, so you have to do that yourself. So move that up a bit there. Dear F name, so we're going to assume that that's the greeting. So greeting line there. It's not, dear Ms. Chan, Mr. Traynor, Ms. Preeti. Okay, that's already matched up, that's fine. But it did say, hang on a sec, let's just go back. I think it might have been first name that needs to be matched up. So we need to match fields. So courtesy title, let's have a look at that. Dear Seren, that doesn't look quite right. So last name, not matched. We'll just have first name, Dear Seren. Just be careful with that. I think what she's wanting, what they want in the question is first name, not the last name. Yeah, that does say in the mark scheme, that does need to be first name there. Okay, there's one more thing to do in brackets, party type. So we need to match that fields. More items, party type. And just match field just to make sure we've got that. Don't need that there. Okay, insert, party type, close. Or party type, party through the perfect party. Let's go and preview the letter. So you can go through them all. Wedding party. One problem we've seen here, which is why it's important to have that, we've got dear Norman, so we need to just address just that there. Let's go back and fix that. So we just go back, write your letter, we'll just put greeting line, so match fields. Okay, let's go and have another preview and see what happens. It still says dear, so just one easy way to fix that, just delete that other dear there, and that's okay. So it doesn't say dear Seren, for example. Let's fix that now. So that looks okay, and that looks like we've matched that. Add the correct merge fields and document to replace text in brackets. Resave the letter showing the merge fields, so make sure you resave the letter, save it, save the letter as PDF. So just one more time, how do we do that? File, save as, browse, and we can choose here PDF. So we can save that as a PDF, click save, and then that is done. And here's our PDF. 3. Brogan wants to check and sign the letters before they're posted, merge the data to produce letters, ensure the letters are fit for purpose. So what that means fit for purpose is you're looking for all 3 letters shown. So we should have 3 letters here, and if we go to mailings and we just go through the wizard again, we can check that all 3 letters are there. So you need to also look, fit for purpose means placeholders and brackets removed. Yeah, you've done that. Appropriate spacing between merge fields, title and L name, dear and F name, and your party type. So that looks okay there. And the final thing to do is to save the document as merge and save it as a PDF. So do that, and then you finish that activity. Task B4B, open a new word processing document. Enter task B4B, your name, candidate number, and center number in the header of the word processing document. Save it as task B4B. Now for time, I'm just going to write on this document using fill and sign, but you'll need to do that in a Word document. If you write on the paper like I'm going to do, you're not going to get any marks for what you do. So first question is, just move this out of the way, explain one advantage of using mail merge to produce the letters for Brogan's customers. Well, it saves time because he only has to write the letters once, so make sure you put in the because that's 2 marks there. 2. State one software facility that can be used to ensure accuracy when reviewing a document. I'd be using a spell or grammar check myself. So number 3, the last question. Describe the difference between data and information. Data is just raw numbers or words or just letters. Information is meaningful. So, as the saying goes, data plus meaning is information. So, that completes B4 for 18 marks, and that completes the whole paper for 50 marks for section B, and then 100 marks for the total. This is a very big paper. Thank you for watching to the end. If you did watch to the end, please let me know in the comments, watch to the end. As always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It encourages me to do more of these videos. So I will do more if I get the likes and the subscribes. It encourages me to do more and more of these videos. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.